Hello, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing two of Kato's new Amtrak P42DC heritage units. Now starting off about these locomotives, I've actually seen both of these locomotives in person, and I gotta say, Kato did a really good job with the detailing and the paint on these engines. They really captured a real look of the actual locomotives in real life. It's almost like I'm seeing the real engines right here in front of me once again. Now starting off with 160, they really captured the paint scheme on this one really good. How the red ties in with the blue and the gray. It just really looks like an accurate locomotive. You know, sometimes it can be hard when doing these model trains to get the shade of the paint to look like the real locomotive, but they really hit the nail on the head with this one. The overall, everything about this locomotive really fits the real locomotive well. It looks absolutely stunning. Great model. Now let's go over to 161. 161 is the same story as 160 in the sense that it's just an overall very well done model. The paint, this looks excellent, and it looks just like its real life counterpart. Now let's talk about some of the details about these locomotives. The detailing is really good. As you can see, we have horns on the top. We have, fan detailing that's molded in. Really good detailing right there on the roof. Roof detailing is something that can be really cool to see. The only thing that I don't really care for on these models is the number boards, because the number boards are separately applied. Now, that's not that separately applied parts are a bad thing, but they're kind of fiddly to put on, They're not really the easiest to put on, but, it doesn't take away from the model. These are outstanding models, but, based on other locomotives I've, gotten, the number boards were already built into the model, and I probably would have preferred that. But, separately applied parts aren't a terrible thing, but they are really hard to deal with and can be easy to lose. Now let's move along to the side of the locomotive of 160 we're looking at right now, just so you can get a good side view of the locomotive. And it just looks really good. As you can see, if we zoom in, we have, grill detail. They got all the stripes very well done. You have that classic looking Amtrak logo right there. And then further to the back, we have the Amtrak 50th anniversary logo. Now if we go over to 161, we can go along the side of this locomotive. You have the, the iconic Phase 1 Amtrak Arrow logo right there. And then we go back there, instead of having, the 50th anniversary logo on the rear like 160 has, we just have 161, and then the 50th anniversary logo is close to the front. Now let's take a look at the front of the engines, and I'll zoom in a bit so you can see, the number boards that I was talking about. As you can see where it says 161 right there, that is an added on part. That comes in a little parts bag that comes in the case that the engine comes in, and you have to, put that on there. It can be kind of hard to put on there. It's not the hardest thing to do, but once you get it on there, it does, its job. And it doesn't look, it doesn't look perfect, like, if it was already applied in the packaging, but it doesn't really look bad either. Now let's take a look at the top of the engines once more. I like how they did the coloring on the horns. As you can see, 161's horn is black, and 160's horn is gray. And now let's take a look at the underneath of the locomotives. As you can see, we have some detailing underneath. Good truck detailing. You have a little step ladder that leads up to, the cab door. And we have little air tanks right here. We have some detailing here. And the couplers are good on these too. They have Kato knuckle couplers. Knuckle couplers. Really good to see, good couplers, because couplers are something that might not be talked about a lot, but, there's something that's very important when running a model railroad. Now let's take a look at the back. You have that classic P42DC rear end. As you can see, differences just in the paint schemes right here. They both have, the same door and stuff, but there's paint scheme differences. As you can see, 160 has that classic Amtrak logo right there, while 161 does not. And we also have some little detailing right here. If we zoom in right here, you have that little General Electric builder's plate, I believe they call them. Now those are actually accurate. I don't think I've seen a builder's plate on a P42 up close, but I've seen a BNSF-9 that has one that looks very similar to that with the, General Electric logo on the builder's plate. Now that we've gone over the detail on these engines, I really give them a 10 out of 10. And this is just overall a very exciting day for me because I remember first hearing about these engines coming out earlier this year. And I've been, waiting a long time for them to come out, and I've just been super excited. And the day finally came when I was able to, buy some of them, and here they are. And they did not disappoint. They are my first Kato locomotives, and they are my first Amtrak locomotives. Now let's get into the run session. Okay, we have Amtrak 160 on the track first. Let's go ahead and power up and see how she does. Wow, look at those lights, alright? So we got some good front end lights on the front of the locomotive. Now let's get her up to speed and let's get some runtime in. Very smooth runner, very smooth. Get some high speed. This is not maximum speed. I don't think I'll go maximum speed because my turns are not really, wide turns. They're kind of sharp. Alright, let's go in reverse now. We have working lights on the rear too. And now it's 161's turn. Alrighty, time for the final conclusion. Once again, I give them 10 out of 10. They are great looking models. They really live up to their real life counterparts. The paint just really looks perfect. Looks just like the real thing. And they are good runners. So 10 out of 10, overall good models. Thanks for watching.